I ended the last episode with Mr. Stark, Chuck Stark. He came to begin teaching 6th grade when 6th grade was at Oakhurst School. And he was a fine teacher, and everything was good, but I don't know. He got into funny episodes in his teaching. He was very competent, and one day I get a call. He was upstairs, I think, in the original wing of Oakhurst School, and we had our intercom, and Mrs. Scott calls me and says to me, Mr. Stark has a problem. And so I said, okay, I'll go right up. So I went upstairs. Well, the children were fine. He comes out in the hall to me and he says, my zipper is stuck. My zipper's stuck. And I don't know what to do. Should I go home? And I said, well, you know what? Go down. There is a teacher's room in the new wing. And as soon as you dismiss the boys and girls, go down there and you see if you can fix the zipper in that room. Okay. Now, all this time, well, for at least that year, my wife, Mimi Vineburg, was doing individual tutoring. She had several of the students, including Doug Skinner. And they got along, I think, very well, and she loved him as her own child, and they did very well. There were other students, too. Tommy Morrow, yes. And anyhow, she helped them. And she was paid by the school board to do this, and there was some question about whether she should be assigned to Oakhurst School, etc., because I was the principal, but that was all resolved. So I knew she was coming in, and she always signed it in the office, like all the other tutors, and I was on my way out. And she said, where are you going? I said, well, I'll walk you down. She met, I think it was near Ruth Dallam's room in the hallway there or something. And I said, because we didn't have many places to meet. And so I said, I'll walk you down, because I have to go to the new wing, seeing how Mr. Stark is making out. And she said, well, what's wrong? And I whispered to her, he can't zipper his fly back up. So, oh my God, she said. So I said, you may have to take his class, if he has to go home. So we walked down the hallway, and as we're walking down that long hallway, it seemed long at the time, Chuck Stark is walking back. And my wife inadvertently looked down and looked and said, "Yep." I didn't know how to control myself. He had to go home and change his trousers, and I don't know who went up. Maybe Barbara Thompson was upstairs. She might have taken over his class for a little while, and then he came back. But that was a very funny incident, and Mimi and I always had good laughs remembering that time. And she said she knew she shouldn't look, and she knew she shouldn't say that, but she did, and she looked at him and said, "Yup." Funny story. Mr. Stark came with us over to the Ocean Township School, teaching 6th grade, and then one Christmas vacation, right before the end of school, he announced he was moving, and he would not be back to school after the holidays, which was in contrast to his contract. You had to give 30 days notice, but I spoke to Mr. Mann. He said he wants to go. Let him go. If he doesn't want to be there, we don't want him. So I've heard from Chuck later, and he's a good friend. Now, another thing I want to tell you about, Now I can't remember. One thing led to another, but I forget.
Shows.
Oh, the shows, right. Do you remember, I told you about the productions that Mrs. Stats ran at Oakhurst School. And some of them were, all of them were wonderful. We once had a celebration, I think it was Flag Day in June, and we went out to that monument in the front, and we provided all the kids, I don't know where we got them from, with flags, and everybody brought out a flag. Now, Oakhurst School also was fun. I'll tell you about the shows in a minute. Upstairs, I told you about the old attic where the pigeons were. Well, I don't know, one summer, I think it was, I went upstairs there. I kind of think Sidney and Richard might have been with me. I don't remember. But somebody was with me. And when they got upstairs, they saw the bust, you should excuse the expression, of President Lincoln and President Washington. Evidently, a class back in the 30s, you know how old the school was, purchased these, and they stood in the auditorium on pedestals, and they were like stone. I don't know if they were marble or not, but they were stone. And, of course, when we started inside gym and so forth in that room, they took them upstairs and stored them in the attic. So whoever was up there with me said, you know what? Let's put them looking out of the window. We'll put Abraham Lincoln looking one way and George Washington out the other one, because there were windows up there. Well, across the street from Oakhurst School, there was a friend of mine who I had taught with in Wanamassa School, the first year I ever taught, Jeanette Eichhorn, Reba, but we all called her Jeanette. I don't know why. And she lived right across the street from Oakhurst School. And of course, when I moved in as principal, she came over, wished me luck. She was very busy with the Historical Museum. At that time, it was located in Oakhurst School. So she would come in, and we always passed the time of day and laughed together. And one evening during this summer, she called me, Don, it's Jeanette Eichhorn, yes. She said, you better get down to the school. I said, well, what's happening? She said, I think there might be a fire because we have the fire department, Oakhurst Fire Department there, and the ladders are up. I said, well, maybe it's a drill, but if they have a drill, because I think Oakhurst School was the highest thing in Oakhurst, maybe they're doing a drill, but they always told me ahead of time. She said, well, something terrible's going on, you better come down. So I got in the car, and I came down to Oakhurst School, and they're in the building, and I said, what's wrong? They said, there's somebody stranded in the attic. I said, what? Somebody stranded in the attic. Somebody passed by Oakhurst School and saw Abraham Lincoln's head looking down Monmouth Road towards the church. They called the fire department, and the fire department was coming to rescue whoever was locked in Oakhurst School. You see, that school was magical because it provided us with stories and laughter for years and years.
We'll see you later.
Yes, alligator. Yeah.
Bye.